It's the place for all the biggest shows and stars of the stage. It's the Broadway Show. I'm Tamsen Fadal. Welcome. Let's do the time warp again. The Rocky Horror Show is back on Broadway at Studio 54, featuring an A-list cast. Here's Paul Wontorek with more.
Mr. Luke Evans, good to see you. How's Broadway?
It's good. It's great.
You
I'm enjoying it.
Titillating and terrifying Broadway 8 times a week. Frankenfurter.
I certainly am, yeah.
I mean, what is it like living with Frankenfurter and living alongside Frankenfurter?
Probably the most fun I think I've ever had in doing anything as an actor, yeah. I'm very excited. I have butterflies when I'm in the car going to the theater every night, which is a lovely feeling. I also love the process of looking at myself, Luke in the mirror, and then slowly seeing Luke disappear and Frank appear to the point where I'm completely gone. I look in the mirror and I'm like, okay, well, there's this creature, and I'm loving it. It's really, really fun.
The look is very unique, actually. The first time I saw you come out on stage, I was just like fascinated by the wig and the choices. It's such a great sort of down and dirty version of Frankenfurter. What was it like developing that?
I remember the first artist's impressions that David Reynoso, the costume designer, sent to me.
Fantastic costumes.
Incredible. I mean, if you'd seen the original ones, they were even more risky. But I immediately could see somebody, a designer who wanted to really push the boat out and really do something different, but with an homage to who Frank is. You know, the DNA of Frank is there. It's just he may look a little different. And I was ready for it. I mean, I never said no to a single thing. I wanted to try it all and find, you know, a look that worked for them, but also for me, and also practically how I could wear that costume every night and be comfortable to a certain extent, of course. It was about a 3-month design process. I'd stand there in fishnets and we'd try a leotard or then a thong or a jockstrap. Right. This is a character that I never thought I would play, and it's so far removed from everything I've ever done. And part of that was the reason why I wanted to do it. I wanted to prove to myself and to show the world, you know, like as an actor, if I'm brave enough, I can take on something that is so far removed from who I am and what people have seen me, and and that's why it was such a thrill to do, and the most liberating experience of my life.
I love the hair too.
The hair's amazing.
The hair is
The hair was a brave choice because, of course, a lot of Franks have the famous Tim Curry style hair, and I'll be the wig designer, the hair designer, and Sam, the director, and David Reynoso, and myself said, let's depart from that. Let's be brave and let's do something different. Let's turn more into a slightly more of a rock star, grungy style Frank.
Are you having fun with that wild crew of performers?
I love them.
Yeah.
I love them. They're my family. And I think they all were very aware that I was turning up and I hadn't done theater for a very long time and I was in movies, and I do wonder what they thought on that first day of rehearsals, but they all welcomed me with open arms, and they've been the most supportive group of people, and I think we're all just so happy to be there, which is such a nice experience, to be coming to work every night and hearing people laughing and warming up, and it's a lovely experience. It's a lovely, lovely job.
You've been able to create such a phenomenal career, and you've been able to become something that I know people like us didn't have when we were kids, which is an out actor who does action movies and who can do Frankenfurter. I mean, it's incredible, just sort of the range and the scope of your career. Do you just ever find yourself just like taking that in?
Yeah, it doesn't pass me by, that responsibility I have. Not that I went looking to have this career.
Right.
This career sort of happened, but it was very exciting to be able to play these, very strong leading roles, action-heavy, masculine, heroic characters, but also be a open, happy gay man and have both, and be accepted by the industry for that, and to have played all these different characters. And then, choosing a role like Frankenfurter is such a departure for me from everything I've done. And at this point, you know, role model is a wonderful thing to call anybody if they get called that. It's important to understand the gravitas of what that means. And I think I've never been one to broadcast my life to the world, apart from my autobiography, but I did it within a book. But I realize even without doing anything, just living your life and the choices you make are observed and are seen. And I hope that what my message of just who I am and what I'm doing with my life professionally, privately, just living it the way I want to live it and choosing the roles I want to play, is a message that goes out to, you know, everyone who may feel lost or unseen or scared of being themselves and or having the career that they want but thinking they won't because of who they are. I'm testament that doesn't have to be the case. You can, you know, work and you can live and you can be happy and you can jump from one role to the next and mix it up and you'll be happy if you do that.
After all these years, Wicked is still as popular as ever on Broadway and also on tour. And thanks to the hit films, a new generation has been introduced to this iconic musical. I caught up with the two witches of Wicked. Do you feel like you're attached now?
Yeah.
You're conjoined. Can you not tell?
I can tell.
I actually feel like the second I found out it was Keri, I was like, this is cosmic. Like, it
Why?
felt... I don't know. I think, like, before I knew that Keri was Elphaba, there is a video of you doing Defying Gravity at the concert, and it's on her Instagram, and I used to watch it and, like, weep because it was so good, and it was, like, the best I'd ever heard this song, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, if I ever got to do Wicked, like, I hope she gets to be Elphaba. But like, it was so weird. Like when I found out it was Keri, I was like, oh my gosh, like dreams
like just fun.
come true.
They do come true. Well, you know that very well.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about a dream of being on Broadway, because that is a dream. I think that, you know, so many people want to live, and you're both living it in such an incredible, incredible show.
Yeah.
What has that been like? What was it like when you found out?
You go first.
Really?
You go first, yeah. Go.
Well,
It's her Broadway debut.
I know it is.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't believe it at first. Like, I really thought it was a prank call because I didn't think there was like any way that this could be happening to me. And then when I realized that it was real, I freaked out. I actually went to church and I cried. And I talked to my pastor because I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Keri, what about you? Because you have had this experience before, but I think every show is like it's your first one, right?
Well, it does really feel like, and honestly, I feel very honored that it feels that way. I was the standby for Elphaba for about 6 months, but it's never a given. It is never a given that you will play Elphaba afterwards, and I never take that for granted. So when my agent called me, I was like, come again?
Said what?
And it was really a very cosmic moment as well, because it was actually the 6-month anniversary of my father's passing. On the day that I got the call, and I was like, this feels right.
Yeah.
This feels so right.
Wow.
And to have Emma, obviously, is like just a wealth of joy every single show.
The movies like really put this on the map in a whole different way, and especially with different generations now of audience members. What are you seeing with people coming to the theater? And I'm sure you've got like families that either grew up, you know, watching it on stage or now film.
I mean, it has always been like an 8 to 80 show. It has always been that musical. It is truly for all ages. It's so many people's first Broadway show that they're seeing, and everybody in between enjoys it as if it's the first time. I have a friend who has actually they've seen me in the show 9 times as of last night.
What?
Wow.
And
So it never gets old.
Right?
It never gets old. It is always just so classic and so timeless. And we're really, really lucky to peek out. I mean, what is it like when you're on stage and you see like the little kiddos and then like the grandparents that are bringing their grandchildren? It's unbelievable.
And you see that, right?
You do,
you can see
yeah.
it from stage.
I think
What does
every
that feel
Glinda
like?
says that. Like, When you're up in the bubble, you can see the first couple of rows, and you always, like every single show so far, my 11 shows, every single show I see somebody dressed in costume, and either from the movie or the musical. But I think it's so special that people come in and now, like, also everyone knows Wicked now, like in a much deeper way. When I told people like, oh, I'm gonna be doing Wicked on Broadway, everybody who hears that is like, oh wow, Wicked, like, you know, it means something to people on a much deeper, like more expansive level now that the movie exists, because it's a real household. It always was a household name, but now it's an even bigger entity. Last night we had groups of kids who are seeing it for the first time, and the audiences were so great. Like everything got like just the most rambunctious reaction in the best way. Like it was like they were seeing it for the first time.
The Broadway Show is going to be back in just a sec. Welcome back to the Broadway Show. I'm Tamsen Fadal. Let's go ahead and get back to it. Schmigadoon is this year's Best New Musical at the 2026 Tony Awards. Here's Beth Stevens with another edition of Building Broadway for us.
What is Schmigadoon? How do you describe it to people who never saw the TV show, who have no idea what this word means?
Schmigadoon is a contemporary love story where two people are having a little rut in their relationship and they're trying to get past a certain thing, so they go on a retreat in the woods, they cross a bridge, and they end up in a Golden Age musical. And, you know, and it's, why I love the show so much is like, if you love Golden Age musicals, if you love Broadway in general, I mean, this is a big, old-fashioned Broadway musical in that big dance numbers, great songs, great. It's like it feels like a classic musical that hasn't been done yet. But yet there's a character in it, Josh, who's one of the couple who hates musicals. so you have this character that is like constantly talking about it. So like it feels like ages like 8 to 80 will love this show, because, you know, even if you love musicals or you don't, or you're on the fence, it's kind of like there's something for you. Yeah, it's a really fantastic piece.
And you have a history with Golden Age musicals. Tell me about that and sort of weaving in that sensibility.
This has been a dream show from the TV series. I mean, I grew up on Golden Age musicals.
Which you choreographed the TV series, just so people know. Yes, you worked on it.
I choreographed the TV series, and it was why I dance. I mean, all of those classics. It's like Gene Kelly and like all of my idols, and then all of these choreographers that have influenced me: Ona White, Jerome Robbins, Michael Kidd, Agnes DeMille. I mean, those choreographers, I mean, they changed the theater. I mean, they just did. My love of the form and the art is just, to get this call and have Synco be like, but we really want it to look authentic. I was like, this is gonna be the best job ever. I love that we get the chance to really bring the audience like back in time.
It's also tailor-made for theater fans, theater nerds, theater kids, all of us.
I mean, there are so many references, and there are so many Easter eggs, and there are so many. I mean, it's just chock. It's like.
But if you go with your partner who is not one of those people, it's okay.
That's why
we're going to bring you along.
We bring you along, like they're the Josh.
Right.
You know, like they're going to be the Josh who was like, "What's happening?" And then but then you get it, and it's just so it's that's why it's fun for all kinds of people to come see it, because you're going to get. You're just going to go on that ride, and you're going to be one of them.
As much as it's a send-up of the big Golden Age musical, it's also scratching that itch for a big Golden Age musical.
Oh, yes. And we haven't had one like this in such a long time. And I love that and appreciate all of the kind of spins on and takes on revivals and new concepts. But I think this really feels like we haven't had this kind of Broadway musical I can't remember, to be honest. I obviously love the series and I loved being a part of it, but there's something about it's almost like bringing it home. Like all of the musicals we're spoofing started on Broadway.
Right.
Like it's all the classics that started on Broadway that were then made into films, but it feels like this almost feels more at home on a Broadway stage, like we're bringing it back. So I'm I'm really excited for for that connection with the audience to like feel these numbers in real time, like the way they were originally. So I'm so excited.
Thanks so much for sticking around. I'm Tamsen Fadal. Cats, the Jellicle Ball is a new take on Andrew Lloyd Webber's classic, Cats, set in the world of ballroom. Here's Perry Sook with a look.
All right, I'm here with Rachel Hauck in her studio. And Rachel, if I can make my attention focus for 1 second instead of looking at all of the wonders you have around this office. You know, Cats, which is so beloved and a production that ran for quite some time, then obviously have had some revivals after that, and now this complete reimagining. Just what is it like taking something that exists so firmly but changing it so completely?
It feels radical. I mean, especially to do this, the complete reimagining of the, you know, ballroom culture in the world of Cats, the seamless fit of that because of the incredible genius of our directors, our dramaturg, and our choreographers. And then they hand it to you and they're like, okay, let's make a ball. I mean, it just doesn't get much more exciting.
What exactly does this entail, you know, to make it a ball, to have the ballroom? What were the specifics you had to incorporate?
The runway.
Sure.
The runway. I know everybody's excited about the runway, but the runway is definitely the biggest thing in the show, and the relationship to the judge and the audience. I mean, the thing that was most important to us is to put everybody in the same event together, breaking down the formality between the front of house proscenium stage and, watching the stage and being on the stage, and finding a way to make it into a complete culture that everybody's in together. That's the thrill. That's the task.
So it's one thing to hear you say it, but it's another thing to see it. Actually looking at this, I mean, it's absolutely beautiful, the model you have here of the set. Can you just walk me through this, from the cabaret, chairs and tables in the boxes to the runway protruding out of the proscenium?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're using every inch. We're like any place they'll let us use, we're going to use. We've got the warehouse windows upstage. The runway is running right down as far as it can before it starts to be too hard for the people upstairs to see. Stairs everywhere. The space is completely porous so that the cats can come from anywhere. We're using the boxes, so there are cocktail tables and high bar stools up there, some for the audience, some for us. And then there's the cats are everywhere. So there's audience seated on stage. There's banquettes. So that's a really fun place to sit with the cafe tables there. Judge is upstage here instead of downstage. And then the choreography will take you everywhere. So any place that somebody can enter, move, walk, dance, the entire thing is built strong enough for people to be able to climb, move, swing, anywhere they want to go.
The vibrant sounds of Cuba are alive on Broadway and Buena Vista Social Club. It's inspired by the iconic Cuban album from 1997. Here's an exclusive musical performance from the Broadway.com studio.
Dos gardenias para ti, con ellas quiero decir, te quiero, te adoro, vida. Ponles toda tu atención, que serán tu corazón y el mío. Dos gardenias para ti, que tendrán todo el calor de un beso, de esos besos que te di y que jamás encontrarás en el calor de otro querer. A tu lado vivirán y te hablarán como cuando estás conmigo. Y hasta creerás que te dirán te quiero, pero si un atardecer las gardenias de mi amor se mueren es porque han adivinado que tu amor me ha traicionado porque existe otro querer.
That's all for now, but for tickets and more exclusive content, you can head over to Broadway.com. Until next time, I'm Tamsen Fadal, and this is The Broadway Show.